Hi guys, I hope you're well. Um, I hope you're healthy and happy, and hopefully, we don't have too much longer left of this situation. So, today I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about living and working in the UK, and how it might be different to some things that might be relevant when it comes to doing business in the UK, if you will be doing business there. So, I'm going to divide my talk into four parts. I will begin by discussing the general way of life in the UK. Um, I'll go on to discuss the accommodation, the people, and finish this short presentation by talking a little bit about the language. So, first, let's start with a little bit of background. Although I haven't done business in the UK, I have worked in various jobs and grown up there. I worked in a chocolate factory when I was in college, which is the equivalent of bachillerato here in Spain, and then also worked in various part-time jobs. So that's my limited background. So let's move on and talk a little bit about the way of life. So, the first thing I want to discuss when it comes to the way of life that makes such a profound difference between the life here and there is the weather and also the length of the days. So, in the UK, there's definitely less sunny days. These days, well, recently it's really warm and it's been really, really wonderful weather there right now. So, it does seem to be changing and becoming warmer, but the days are definitely shorter. And this means that things close a lot earlier and the working day is a lot shorter. So, for example, restaurants are closed by 11, shops are closed by 5 or 6. And this will definitely have a big impact on what it's like to do business in the country, or what it's like to work there, because the working day will have a different structure and schedule. Um, Secondly, I wanted to talk a little bit about accommodation. A major difference in the UK is the cost of living, I would say, is a lot higher than here. It really does depend what city you're in, because, for example, in the north of the UK, it's a lot cheaper in a city such as Manchester or Liverpool or Newcastle. But if you were living in London, for example, it's very, very feasible or very likely that you're going to be paying upwards of £700 for a very small room that's not in the centre. So, evidently, it's much more expensive than here, and that also affects things when it comes to working life, for example. Um, a lot of life is a lot more focused around work and earning money. And another thing which kind of ties into the last point is that life functions more in the house, I would say, than what I've seen in Spain. This is purely my opinion, but I very much see people in the UK putting more care into their homes and making their homes cozy, maybe like watching more TV, I don't know, spending more time in the home, whereas here people eat out more, spend a lot more time in the streets. So I would say that's a little bit of a difference if we're doing a comparison. Um, People, so British people can be quite indirect and polite. So I would say that politeness is a lot more valued in the UK than in other countries. Sometimes this can translate into kind of beating around the bush a little bit, which is an expression to me not going directly to the point because you're trying to be so polite. But also, I would say there is quite a lot of a focus on productivity more than I've noticed here. So, for example, in a business meeting, maybe there wouldn't be so much time for chatting or conversation. Maybe people would go more kind of to the work and less kind of, how was your bank holiday? How was your weekend? Maybe kind of less of that in the workplace. Um, Finally, a little bit about the language. So obviously, the business in the business world in the UK is it's a country that speaks English. So a lot of everything is in English. But one thing to be noted is that in the UK, people don't really speak other languages because our native language is the international language. And people can be fairly unaware of how difficult it is to learn another language and maybe not be so patient or be or talk slowly to compensate for the other language because myself included before moving to Spain assumed everyone kind of just spoke English, but of course it's not the case. So you might encounter that in the working world. So to summarize, it's a fantastic place to visit. I'm sure it's a fantastic place to do business in, and that is all I have to say. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.